as you know, we have some basic principles here in Unity. There are 5 of them, which make up the Unity belief system. Number 1 is God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is absolute good, everywhere present. And number 2, we are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person, which we call the Christ. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our thinking. The third one is affirmative prayer and meditation heighten our connection to God within and bring joy, wisdom, peace of mind, and healing, as well as abundance. Our fourth principle is knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. And the fifth spiritual principle is, in unity, we feel a sacred responsibility individually and collectively to make a positive difference through personal example and active service in our churches, our communities, and our world. I'm going to just share these with you because I'm going to focus in on the second principle because I believe that it's the key to our knowing that we are enough. This one, recall, says, we are spiritual beings. Okay? This is our identity. We are created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each of us, and we call that the Christ. Therefore, all people are inherently good, and we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. So, how is it that we don't know that we are already enough? I mean, this second principle is brings a powerful awareness of who we are, what our true identity is. And yet, oftentimes, it's difficult for us to accept the truth of this. I am the living expression of all that God is. You are the living expression of all that God is. And oftentimes it's difficult to live up to that standard, at least from a human point of view. But I believe that this awareness is key in our knowing that we are enough. And it's interesting, though, because in the New Testament, we see that Jesus felt a need to constantly tell this to the people who came to listen to him. He was constantly lifting them up, not only through healing them, but also by healing the thoughts, the attitudes and beliefs that they were holding on to about themselves. The Jews were a conquered people living under Roman rule. And so Jesus said things like, you are the light of the world. And I bet a lot of them said, nah, no way. Me? I don't think so, okay? Maybe I'm not hearing this right. I am the light of the world? No, well, maybe I am, but Charles certainly is not, okay? The things that he's doing, okay, his behavior, he is definitely not the light of the world. Okay? But yes, we all are. That does not mean that we are always expressing that perfect presence in us, in our human expression. In fact, I think that part of the reason we're here in this human expression is to learn how to let that presence express fully through us. In fact, that's what Jesus seemed to do, and that's what Jesus seemed to be teaching us. He said, the things I do, you shall do, if you believe. These are mighty, mighty claims, okay? Now, I will tell you that this past week, when I couldn't find my glasses, I was not feeling like the light of God, and I wasn't feeling like the wisdom and understanding of God and all of those other things, okay? I was feeling pretty bad. I'd gone back to wearing an old pair that had a scratch down one lens, okay? Which made it kind of funny because I tried not to look out that full left lens and just use the corner that was whole, okay? And I looked everywhere for these lenses, okay? And I'll tell you what happened. I prayed about it. I sat still and open, and I just knew that something would come to tell me where they were. Sometimes I take them off now because my vision has changed, and when reading things up close, sometimes it's just easier just to take them off and read that item close. So I'm in the habit of taking them off and not always being mindful of where I placed them. Okay? But what happened was I went into my bedroom. There's one window. I went to my bedroom, and I decided to look through the closet and see what I got ready to wear. And I opened, now these are doors that fold open. So I opened the door, and I looked down because my shoes are down at the bottom. I looked down, and lo and behold, behind the fold of this door on the floor were these glasses. And I thought, how could that happen? How could they be on the floor of my closet, okay, behind the folding door? I know that Nicholas and Jordan didn't do that, okay? I thought, well, I just really couldn't make sense of it and decided, let it go. It doesn't matter. They are found. And I thought, wow, I really do have this wisdom and understanding and insight and light of God in me, okay? Because I really would never have thought to look in the floor of my closet for my glasses, okay? It's still a mystery, okay? But something else led me into the room, okay, pulled up shade on my window, went back, opened the closet doors to look at my apparel there, looked down to what shoes I might wear, and lo and behold, something shiny. My glasses. But that's how it works a lot, okay? It's things like that to say, oh, I am more than I seem, okay? Because you think this presence knows all things, okay? This presence is aware of all things, okay? And in terms of us knowing our worth, our value, that we are always loved beyond measure and unconditionally, this presence is alive and working in us and through us when we allow it to. It can find things for us. It can help us find ourselves. So I wanted to share a couple of things that Jesus shared in inspiring his listeners. One major thing takes place in Matthew 16, in verses 13 through 19. Jesus and his disciples had just finished a day of working with people. They were at Caesarea Philippi. And he asked his disciples, who do the people think I am? And they replied, some say you're John the Baptist, some say Elijah, some say you're the prophet Jeremiah. Now, of course, all of these prophets have passed on. So it shows us that they did have a belief in reincarnation. And Jesus asked them, well, who do you say that I am? And Peter speaks up and says, you are the Christ, the expression of God. And Jesus is impressed and says, wow, okay. You know, flesh and blood haven't revealed that to you. Some presence, some wisdom, some insight in you, the wisdom of your heart have revealed that to you. And he says something quizzical here. He says, I tell you that you are Peter. Now, Peter means rock. And he says, and on this rock I will build my church. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose in heaven will be loosed on the earth. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Now we understand in unity when we interpret this that what Jesus is basically saying is there is that presence in you, okay? The kingdom is within you. And the keys to unlock that I give to you. You can bind thoughts, attach yourself to ideas which are beneficial, or you can bind yourself to positive, life-affirming ideas and concepts. And that looses that door to more blessings. So Jesus was always sharing with his listeners and his disciples who they really are, what they are capable of, their potential. Basically saying what they are worth, that they are worthy. In Luke 12:32, we have Jesus telling the people that it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. We don't have to earn it, okay? So when we run around saying, well, I'm not good enough, I haven't earned this or haven't earned that, okay? We don't have to earn the kingdom of God and all that contains, because that's freely given to us. But we have to use the keys to open that kingdom. Affirmations and denials, and use them in a way that is freeing to us. This all works, according to Unity, because the law of mind action is working. That's the law of your mind in action, okay? Which basically says that the thoughts we hold on to will take shape and form in our life experience in some way. Now think of it this way. Jesus was always talking about seeds and the soil, and putting those seeds into the right kind of soil. And I believe that what he was talking about are these seed thoughts and ideas, and putting the right seed thoughts in our consciousness, the soil of soul. And so this is our opportunity to know that we are enough, that we are worthy, that we are capable, that we are of value. All we need to do is to remove the dust and the dirt that's covering up this awareness, this light that's in us. That's all we have to do. Remove the dust and the dirt, and the light will freely shine. And it sounds simple, but it really isn't, because it means that we've got to work. We were not put on this earth just to have a good time. Yes, to have a good time, because Jesus said, I am come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I think that means enjoying life. But we weren't put here just to have that fun. We were also put here to learn, to study, to grow, to become aware of who we are, and learn how we can let this that's in us, that imprisoned splendor, out, like Jesus said. And he also said, be ye perfect, even as our Father in heaven is perfect. So we've got a few things to do. Now, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. That's a commercial, but it is true. And the process works like this. We have a mind that has several levels, okay? Conscious level, unconscious, and also the subconscious level, which is where our memories, our feelings are stored. And in a way, our mind is like a computer. Bad stuff in, negative stuff out. When we choose to entertain thoughts of lack and limitation, or less than, and thoughts of being unworthy, we're putting in those kinds of data that result in us feeling that way. And when we feel that way, we act that way. And when we act that way, we send a message to our universe to treat us that way, that we are unworthy, we are inadequate. But all of this is based on a false assumption, because our second principle explains that we're spiritual beings created in the image of God, and that presence indwells us. So while we can put on different clothes here in the world, we can play different parts here in the world, okay? Some of them good, we can play the bad cop or the good cop, okay? But essentially, our essence never changes. It's that we decide to play certain roles, perhaps so that we can learn something, or perhaps because someone else needs an opportunity to learn and grow. But we're in it together. And we begin taking messages, that is, allowing these seeds to fill our soul. When we're very little, when we're infants, we absorb information, color, ideas, energy that's all around us. And some of this is programming that is not really beneficial to us as we grow spiritually. And some of us reach adulthood and we're still functioning out of an 8-year-old mindset, an 8-year-old concept of who we are. but to realize that we create our life experience. That is, we create how we experience life. Sometimes we can't outwardly control, and I think it's problematic to think, well, I gave myself cancer, okay, or blame that person is to blame because they gave themselves cancer. I think that that what we do is soul wants to learn something, wants to learn compassion. It wants to learn understanding and kindness. It wants to learn how to serve. And so, the universe, knowing that we as soul want to learn these things, works this out in its own mysterious way so that we have those experiences that can teach us what we as soul want to learn. And so in that sense, it's all good. I subscribe to Karen Drucker's newsletter, and her September edition of the newsletter, she spoke about something that bothered her. She said, it always bugs me, we in the New Thought community, when a person has a problem or challenge that they're dealing with, that we run up and say, oh, it's all good, it's all good. She said, that spiritual bypass is not something that works for me. She said, I'm the type of person, I need to be real, okay? I need to be honest with myself. I need to be able to say, I'm going through a tough time, and I have a lot of pain about this issue or that issue. And others to allow me to have that awareness. Because she said, when I have that, I then feel motivated to jump in the muck. She calls it muck. To jump in the muck and find what I need to learn. I'm motivated by my pain. Now, I don't know that we all have to be motivated by our pain, but it seems like part of humanity feels that it does. It needs that pain to be motivated. So we draw experiences to us that motivate us. Hopefully, we catch on and we get motivated very early in those experiences and move on. And so she expressed something that, I guess a lot of people in Unity think. In ministerial school, we had a term or expression, the asphalt of affirmation. And that means plastering over your problems and difficulties with affirmations, okay? And not realizing how affirmations really work, okay? Because it's really a matter of consciousness. It's kind of like when the highway is crumbling, okay, and they send the crews out to patch up just the little holes, the little spots, and they do nothing to strengthen the foundation of that crumbling highway. Asphalt of affirmation. And so this is what Karen is talking about, that in order to come to the realization that we are enough, we need to be able to be aware of our human self and our human constructs of limitations, the things we have created that block our good, so that we can do something about it. Take responsibility and then make changes by using the tools that we have. Affirmations, denials, visualization. And visualization is a great tool for changing the content of our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is like a child. It doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't judge. It accepts things. It's the soil. And we dig and put the seed in the soil. And we dig and put certain kinds of seeds in the soil of our consciousness. So, since we have implanted certain seeds, we can decide to plant a different crop if we have been experiencing difficulties. If we are needing to know that we are enough, we can choose to plant different seeds in our soil. Prayer and meditation help us do that. Using affirmations and denials help us do that. Visualizing something better for ourselves, seeing ourselves in this light and love of God. A favorite image of mine is to use a fountain that is running over with water, and it is being perpetually fed with new renewed water, revitalized water, even as it is spilling over and sharing this refreshment with others. You may have your own favorite image to use in your practice. But when you use visualization, use a lot of color. The subconscious mind is like a child. It likes those crayon colors, okay? Vibrant colors, okay? So when you image yourself as enough, when you image yourself as worthy and valued and capable, when you see yourself doing those things that you fear, that you have anxiety about, see yourself doing those things successfully, with color, with energy. And the subconscious mind will say, whoa, okay, I get the message now, okay? And helps us put the right energy, the right action in the world to bring this about. And so, we have within us the knowledge. We've always had this knowledge. And right from the get-go, we have been enough and always will be enough. Right in Genesis, when God created the world, he said it was good. But when God created each of us, God said, it is very good. God bless you.